I didn't realize the call hadn't ended until I heard my own husband laugh. It was distant, muffled, the kind of sound people make when they believe no one else is listening. Then I heard him say, almost casually, "Just wait until her father's check clears. Then we'll take the baby and leave her with nothing." For several seconds, I convinced myself I'd misunderstood. Maybe they were talking about a movie. Maybe someone else had walked into the room. Maybe exhaustion was twisting ordinary words into something monstrous. Then my best friend answered. She was 8 months pregnant, her voice softer than usual.
I don't like talking about it like that.
He sighed. "You don't have to like it. You just have to stick to the plan." The line finally disconnected. I stared at my phone until the screen went black. That conversation rewrote years of memories in less than a minute. Emily and I had been friends since college. She trusted people too easily. My husband used to say that was what made her lovable. Now I wondered if he'd seen it as something else. An opportunity. For 2 days I said nothing. Not because I was protecting him, because I needed to know whether I was protecting reality. I replayed the accidental recording my phone had saved after the call. Every time, the same words landed with the same weight. The check, the baby, the plan. Silence became my way of thinking instead of reacting. When Emily asked if I wanted to help decorate the nursery, I almost cried looking at the tiny clothes folded inside neat little drawers. She smiled the whole afternoon. She believed the future was already settled. I left her apartment knowing I couldn't carry this alone anymore. Instead of accusing anyone, I asked one careful question. "Have you spoken with your own lawyer about everything?" She frowned. "Why would I need one? Because becoming a parent changes everything. Independent advice never hurts." She laughed awkwardly. "Ryan said lawyers just make families fight." That sentence chilled me more than the phone call had, not because it was dramatic, because it sounded practiced. Over the next week, I told her only one thing. "Please talk to someone who doesn't know either of us." She resisted. She said she trusted him. She said she didn't want unnecessary conflict. She said love required faith. I understood every reason. I also knew none of them answered the questions I could no longer ignore. Eventually, she agreed to meet a family law attorney, not because I pressured her, because something in my face convinced her I wasn't asking for no reason. I waited outside the office while they spoke. An hour later, she came out looking older, not devastated, just awake. The attorney had explained custody rights, financial protections, parental responsibilities, and the importance of documenting conversations involving money and the child. Some of the assumptions Ryan had presented as facts weren't facts at all, she whispered. He told me none of this. Within days, more conversations were reviewed, paperwork was organized, and financial arrangements involving her father's promised support were paused until everything could be evaluated properly. The plan I'd overheard depended on speed. The law preferred patience. That changed everything. Ryan didn't realize it immediately. He expected signatures that never came, transfers that were delayed, meetings that were suddenly attended by legal counsel instead of frightened family members. The first unmistakable shift happened during a scheduled meeting about financial support. Instead of finding two women willing to accept whatever he suggested, he found Emily sitting beside her attorney. Every document was read carefully. Every question received an answer. Every attempt to rush the discussion stopped politely but firmly. For the first time since I'd known him, Ryan had nothing to control except his own expressions. No one raised their voice. No one humiliated him. Authority had entered the room through ordinary legal process. The conversation no longer belonged to him. Afterward, he came home and asked whether I knew anything. I looked at him for a long moment. "I know enough." He searched my face, perhaps hoping for anger. Instead, he found something quieter, recognition. There wasn't much left to argue about. Trust had already made its decision. The divorce wasn't dramatic. It was paperwork, appointments, divided belongings, and long stretches of silence where explanations used to live. Emily gave birth to a healthy little girl several weeks later. She invited me to the hospital, not because I'd rescued her, because I'd believed what I'd heard when believing it cost me the most. Sometimes people ask why I didn't confront him the moment the call ended. The truthful answer is simple. Confrontation would have given him time. Careful action gave someone else protection. I lost a marriage. Emily lost the future she thought she was building. A child entered the world with parents who would never become the family they imagined. None of that feels like victory, but every time I see that little girl laughing in her mother's arms, I remember the sentence that changed everything. Just wait until her father's check clears. Check never became the turning point they expected. The moment someone chose quiet responsibility over immediate outrage did.